Tonight, you're going to hear 3 stories. 3 encounters that were never supposed to be recorded, never supposed to be remembered, and never supposed to be told to anyone. But you're here, and something tells me you're not afraid of the dark. At least, not yet. Each story comes from different corners of America, from quiet deserts to quiet neighborhoods. But remember, the scariest things don't happen in haunted mansions. They happen in normal places, to normal people, on days that begin completely ordinary. So sit back, turn off the lights, and listen closely. Because these stories aren't just meant to entertain you, they're meant to follow you. Story 1. The house that answered back. My cousin Jenna moved to Flagstaff, Arizona last year. She's a traveling nurse, always bouncing from place to place, always living out of suitcases and rented rooms. The house she rented in Flagstaff looked normal from the outside. 2 bedrooms, long wooden porch, big windows, desert winds always brushing the siding. It was the kind of place people describe as peaceful. But on her very first night, Jenna learned something strange about that house. It listened. She was unpacking her bags when she muttered to herself, "Ooh, I wish this place had better lighting." A few seconds later, click, the hallway light switched on. She froze. The switch had physically flipped down. She thought maybe it was faulty wiring or a loose switch, but she shrugged it off. The next morning, she got another reminder that something was wrong. She was making coffee and whispered, barely above a sigh, "I really need a spoon." A drawer behind her slid open. Metal rattled inside. This time she didn't shrug it off. She left the spoon where it was and walked out of the kitchen with her heart pounding. That night she texted me, "The house is responding to me. I don't think it's electrical. I think it hears me." I tried calling, but she didn't answer. Later, close to midnight, she finally picked up and whispered into the phone, "It keeps wanting to help me." Wanting to help? That didn't sound so bad, right? But then she added, "I think it only knows how to help with physical things." "What do you mean?" I asked. Silence. Then she said, "I dropped my phone earlier," and the floorboards rippled, like hands pushing it back up toward me. She hung up right after saying that. The next day, she called from a hotel. Her voice was shaking. At around 3 a.m., she had woken up to the closet door creaking open. She was half asleep and whispered into the dark, "Close the door." The door didn't just close. It slammed. The frame rattled so hard that the hinges cracked. The house didn't want to help anymore. It wanted to obey forcefully. She grabbed her phone, ran into the living room, and tried to leave. But the front door wouldn't open. She whispered, "Please, let me out." The door slowly unlocked itself. Then the knob turned by itself. Then it opened. She sprinted to her car and never looked back. When the landlord came by the next morning to check the house, he found something strange on the inside of the front door. Dozens, maybe hundreds, of small scratch marks. Not like claws, more like fingers. As if something inside the house had been dragging its nails across the wood, waiting to be told what to do. The landlord texted Jenna one thing: "You weren't the first one the house tried to listen to. Some houses want to keep you safe. Others want to keep you forever." But the next story doesn't take place inside a house. No walls, no doors, no switch that flips on accidentally in the night. This one happened on an open road, a place where nothing should be watching you, except something was. And for the person driving that night, help wasn't coming, because the desert doesn't answer back. It listens, and it waits. Story 2. Mile marker 313. Every trucker knows certain places you don't stop. Mile marker 313, on the lonely stretch between New Mexico and the Utah border, is one of them. Daniel had been driving for 20 hours straight. He was exhausted, hungry, and still had another 2 hours before the nearest town. But he couldn't ignore what he saw on the side of the road. A small silver sedan, hazard lights blinking, slight dent on the driver's door, and someone standing next to it. A young woman in a white hoodie, head down. Out there, at that hour, she had to be stranded. So Daniel pulled his truck over and rolled down the window. "You all right?" he called out. The woman didn't move. He stepped out, grabbing his flashlight. "Hey, ma'am, you need help?" Still no response. He walked closer, shining his light gently toward her feet so he wouldn't blind her. That's when he noticed something strange. There were no footprints in the sand around her car. None. The wind had been still all night. If she walked around, there should have been prints. But the ground around her looked untouched. Daniel felt a chill roll down his spine. "Ma'am?" he said again, slower this time. The woman raised her head. Her face wasn't damaged, wasn't bloody, wasn't ghostly or rotten. No, it was blank. Just smooth skin, like something a mannequin wears before the features are carved in. Then she tilted her head, listening. As if sensing his fear, Daniel stumbled back toward his truck. Her feet shifted, not a step, more like she slid an inch closer, then another, smooth, silent, like she wasn't walking on the sand at all. Daniel bolted into his truck, slammed the door shut, and started the engine. His headlights illuminated her car again, except it wasn't dented anymore. No hazard lights, no plates, just a perfectly clean silver shell. And the woman, she was now standing directly in front of his truck, closer than before, head tilted, blank face angled up toward him. He hit the gas. She didn't move. She didn't react. And right as his truck should have hit her, she simply wasn't there. She didn't dodge, didn't jump, didn't run. One moment she stood there. The next, the road in front of him was empty. Daniel drove for 40 minutes without blinking. When he reached a gas station, he stumbled inside, shaking so badly he dropped his wallet on the floor. The cashier, an older woman, saw his face and knew. "You saw someone at 330, didn't you?" Daniel nodded. The cashier whispered, "She appears for the exhausted ones, the ones who might fall asleep behind the wheel. Some say she's trying to warn you. Others say she's looking for someone to replace her." Daniel quit long-haul driving 3 days later, and to this day, he refuses to drive through New Mexico after dark. Some things on the road want to save you. Some want to take you. But the third and final story, this one isn't about a house or a highway. It's about something all of us have. Something that follows us everywhere. Something we ignore until it tries to get our attention. And when it does, it's already too late. Story 3. The Shadow That Smiled. Kayla was 14 when she first saw it. The shadow. It always appeared the same way. Just after she turned off the lamp at night, the moment her room went dark. A tall shadow by her closet door. At first, she thought it was just her imagination. Shadows can look like anything in the dark. But this one, it didn't move when she moved. Didn't shift when the headlights from passing cars lit up her window. It stayed, perfectly shaped, perfectly still. Every night. She told her parents, but they didn't believe her. "Kids see things in the dark," her father said. "It's normal." One night, frustrated and tired of being scared, Kayla tried something different. She whispered into the dark, "I know you're there." The shadow moved. Not toward her. Not away. It simply raised one hand and waved. Kayla screamed, sprinted to the hallway, and refused to sleep in her room for days. Her parents called the doctor. The doctor said stress can make shadows feel alive, but shadows don't wave back. Kyla's mother eventually came up with an idea. "Let's leave the hallway light on. You'll feel safer." For a while, it worked. But last winter, when her parents went out of town for a night, Kayla stayed with their family friend, Maria. Maria had a guest room for her. The first night, Kayla turned off the bedside lamp and froze. There it was. The same shadow, tall, still, watching her. At this time, it wasn't by the closet door. It was standing right next to her bed. She turned the lamp back on instantly. Gone. For the next 2 hours, she sat awake, lamp shining bright, heart pounding. Around 3 a.m., exhaustion finally won. Her head drooped, her eyes closed. Then she felt a warm breath on her ear. A whisper. "Don't leave me alone again." She screamed and ran out of the room, shaking uncontrollably. Maria called her parents immediately. The next morning, they brought Kayla home, convinced she just had a nightmare. But that night, Kyla made a discovery. When she opened her laptop to watch something comforting, the webcam light blinked on by itself. That wasn't uncommon. Sometimes computers glitch, but then a window popped up. A photo. A photo taken from her webcam, time-stamped just a minute earlier. In the picture, Kayla was sleeping, head tilted slightly, blanket half slipping. And standing behind her, not in the room, but behind her in the photo, was the tall shadow, clearer than ever before, shaped like a person, and smiling. The police said it must be a camera glitch. The computer shop said maybe the lens had a reflection. But you can't reflect something that isn't in the room. The shadow still appears every night, never closer, never farther, always in the exact same place. And Kayla sleeps with every light in her room turned on. The shadow doesn't seem to mind. It smiles anyway. You've reached the end, but if you're still listening, something tells me the stories didn't scare you away. Just remember something before you sleep tonight. Houses don't listen. Roads don't watch. Shadows don't smile. Unless you give them a reason to. If you want more true horror stories, more nightmares, more strange encounters from across America, then subscribe. Because next time, you might hear a story about someone just like you. Or maybe you'll be the next story.